What's going on, everyone? It's Alex. Thanks for joining me back on the channel. Today I'm going to be working on the Z a little bit. So I've had a bad passenger side window motor for quite a while, and I purchased a replacement part a couple months ago and just never got to installing it. But since I've been driving the car more and more down here, it's become increasingly annoying that I can't put down my passenger window. So today we're going to take care of that, and I'll show you how to both remove the door panel and replace the window motor. So let's go take a look and we'll get started. Alright, so the car's turned on and we press the button. You can hear it click, but obviously the window doesn't go down. But fortunately I was able to get it to come down. Sometimes if you hit it the right way or in the right spot while hitting the switch, it will go down. But needless to say, that's not something you want to do every time you want to raise or lower your window. So we're going to go ahead and fix that today. It's actually best if you can get the window to go down, because to get to the motor you actually have to remove the track. So if the window's in the up position, there's a risk of it falling. So if it is stuck in the up position and you absolutely can't get it to go down, you're going to want to tape it around where it meets the door so that when you do pull the tracks off, that it doesn't fall down and break. So first thing I'm going to do very carefully is remove this silver trim piece with either a flat blade screwdriver or a trim tool. So pretty much just pops off like that. Try not to drop it like I just did. And once this panel's removed, there's two 10mm screws that are in here. Those get to come off, and then this handle will come off the rest of the way. And you can go ahead and pop this piece up here to gain access to some more mounting screws. So once you have the panel off, just go ahead and disconnect the switches. This lower screw hole is from the handle, the lower part of the handle. There is usually another one here. I lost mine a while back, so I don't have one. But you will, or you should. And that's, again, a 10mm screw, so just go ahead and pull that out. And the final thing to do before the whole door panel can come off is you lift up the handle, you pop this little black trim piece off here. And I went ahead and removed that plastic piece. Once you remove that, you'll see in here, way back, hopefully you can see it, there's that little screw right there. That needs to be removed as well. That's, again, a 10mm. So now that all the screws that are holding the door panel are removed, you can go ahead and start working your way around and actually just pulling the door panel off of its clips. And then once it's completely free, you'll actually just have to lift it up a little bit and it'll pop right off. So to remove the door panel fully, you'll have to unclip this electrical connector. This wire that goes through to the other side is usually held on right down here with a little clip. So from the other side, just squeeze the clip and it will pull right out. And then to free the actual handle mechanism or the lock mechanism, just pop this out like this and off. And same with the bottom one, pull it off like that and it just pops off. Alright, so here's the door with everything removed. So now we're going to go ahead and remove this secondary panel. Along the whole outside, there's 10mm screws around everything. And then the tracks are held on by 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The bottom 2 are 12mm and the top 2 are 10. And then finally we have the window motor bolts, which are 10mm. And then the window motor actually comes through here, so we can go ahead and disconnect this real quick. Personally, I like to remove the track bolts first, then the motor, and then lastly the perimeter bolts, and then this whole panel will come off and then we can access the motor. And then once all those screws are removed, you can peel back this panel. And this rubber grommet can just be fed through and your panel's off. So lastly, to free the motor, it's just held to this little bracket here with 3 Phillips heads. So we can remove these. And once that's done, it just separates like that. Alright, so here we have the new window motor, part number here, and it's made by Cardone, however you say it. Some of these window motors come remanufactured. This one is supposed to be a brand new unit, so I figured to give it a try. It wasn't too expensive. So there we have our nice shiny new motor. So reassembly is everything, just in the opposite order. So starting with putting the motor into its bracket here. Alright, so getting everything to go back on smoothly is a little tricky, especially since everything kind of hangs freely. So the first thing I actually do is line up the motor itself onto the panel, and I start the screws, because otherwise if you put this panel on without doing that, you'll never be able to hook up the motor. And then make sure you thread your wire back through along with the grommet. So next I like to start by lining up the tracks, and you actually stick your hand up top here and hold the track against this panel, so you can put one of those bolts in like this. Then I like to come over to this side to get this track situated, and with this you can actually lift this track a little bit like that and actually hold it against the door, or the panel rather, and you can get one of these nuts on there. And then since these are attached to the tracks now, we can actually just lift the panel back up into position and start putting on the perimeter screws. And the nice thing, it has these little kind of positioning studs here and here, so once you find that position, it'll kind of click in and it'll make it easier to go around with your other hand and place the screws. Alright, so all the screws are in now and tightened down against the panel. We plugged our motor in, and before we actually put the outside door panel on, it's a good idea to hook up the switch and make sure it works. So we turn the ignition switch on and we can see if it works. Alright, we're good to go. Now you can finally put your door panel back on. Don't forget to feed the wire through for the switch, as well as reconnect the other wire in the back, which is actually for your little light in the pocket here. Also, don't forget to hook up your cables to the locking mechanism, and then slide your door panel on from the top. Then you can work your way around and pop the clips back in. And go ahead and reconnect your switch and put that back on. And put the screw back in behind the handle. And then put that trim piece back on. Reinstall your handle. And last but not least, put your last piece of trim back on. And there you have it, your door panel's back together. Okay, and that's how you remove and install a new window motor. It's a pretty simple project. The hardest part is getting those window tracks to line back up when you're reinstalling everything. But just take your time and use the couple of tricks I showed you and you should be fine. I hope this video is useful to some of you. If you own a 350 for a decent amount of time, you're going to have to replace your window motors. Eventually, it's just one of the weaknesses of the car. And unfortunately, after a certain amount of time, they tend to just fail. But luckily the part isn't too expensive, so hopefully with this video you can save a few bucks, do this yourself, and have a properly working window. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Drop a comment down below if you have any questions about the process or anything you'd like to add. If you're new to the channel, please press subscribe, and as always, thanks to those of you who support the channel. I really appreciate it, and again, this channel would be nothing without you. Alright everyone, thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day, and I'll see you next time.